The Infinity Wars team recently rolled out some important card balance changes to help improve the new player experience, as well as the general game experience for veteran players. We believe that the cards at the legendary rarity should be something to get excited about, and it's important especially for new players that they feel that their rarest cards have a home in a deck. Generally speaking, this was already the case, but there were a few legendaries that were dramatically outperformed by others. Some of them were so underpowered that even in the niche situations they were useful in, other cards at lower rarity tended to fill the role better. We have made a number of card buffs and tweaks to these legendaries to help bring them in line with the appropriate power levels so players can really feel excited when they open a booster and see that legendary glow. Some of the cards we have changed only needed minor tweaks to their stats or costs, starting with Iberian Champion of Force. We've increased both his power and health by 4, and although his stats are still low for a 6-cost card, keep in mind that he is flying and will more often than not be indestructible while in play. Next up we have Gauhan, Champion of Warding. His unique effect of decreasing damage to your angels was simply not powerful enough to justify his weaker stats. So we've increased his power by 6 and health by 4 so he can have a more meaningful impact on the battlefield. For cost reductions, let's begin with Agent Coil Ascended. Agent Coil Ascended's ability to remove any character he damaged from the game was generally not very potent because his stats were very poor for his cost, and because he had flying, he bypassed most defending characters anyways. We've reduced his cost to 4 to better reflect the power he offers you. The last cost reduction we have is Princess Henekry, who has been changed from 5 costs to 4 costs. Princess Henekry has a very powerful ability, but one that was simply not pulling its weight at 5 resources. With the cost reduction, Princess Henekry will hit the battlefield sooner and her ability will be more relevant against characters of a similar cost. Die Another Day has an extreme cost reduction, being lowered from 9 costs to 4. Spending 9 resources to keep you alive for 1 turn was laughably overcosted because in almost every scenario you would need to expend your entire turn playing Die Another Day and would have no resources remaining to address the situation that was going to result in you losing the game. The new Die Another Day costs 5 resources less, which you hopefully will be able to use to help turn the game around rather than just delay the inevitable. In addition, Die Another Day no longer removes itself from the game and has the unique tag to restrict how many you can play in another way. Now let's take a look at 2 legendaries that are catered to having an impact from the command zone, starting with Tigris the Architect. Aside from the updated Tigris being much more clear about what his effect does, it is much more resource efficient than the old Tigris. The old Tigris's effect rarely felt like your resources were being well spent on it, whereas the new Tigris gives you an 8/8 for 3 resources just as a base cost, which is much more efficient while still bringing the build-a-bot flexibility that we wanted the card to have. Evilly, Mage Guild Recruiter received a tweak to her second ability. Evilly has historically only been used for her first ability, which is largely because her second ability frequently lost you tempo by swapping a ready-to-use character for one that could not be used until the next turn. Her new second ability now places the new character directly into the same zone as the character that was removed to pay for it, giving players much greater incentive to take advantage of that effect. The remaining cards have had a medley of unique changes, so we'll cover them individually, starting with Agent Coil Firestarter. Despite the fact that Charge and Multi-Strike 3 on the same card looks pretty impressive on paper, Agent Coil Firestarter's very low stats for his cost generally meant that he could not get through even your average defending 4-drop. Due to the explosive power of Charge and Multi-Strike 3, it could be very unbalancing if we were to alter his cost or stats. So instead, we decided to add some utility to Agent Coil Firestarter by giving him a powerful deploy effect that could wipe out or severely injure defenders across a couple of turns. Agent Coil Hellbringer has received several small changes that you might have even missed, so let me bring your attention to them. First, his cost was decreased by 1. Next, you will notice that Agent Coil Hellbringer now checks to see if your hand is empty at the end of the turn rather than when he is deployed, which allows players to play him from their hand and focus on emptying it after he is deployed. The last change is that the dragon that Agent Coil Hellbringer ultimately transforms into now has Consume 3 to match the Exile's theme. Next, let's talk about Visir the Demon Prince. Visir is a super high cost character and has always been vulnerable to removal, so we felt it was reasonable to change his ability to only hurt your opponent. In addition, we reduced his cost by 1 to help him compete with other very high cost cards, notably the Martyrs introduced in Rebellion. Speaking of which, Ji, Martyr of Peace, was dramatically less powerful than the other Martyr cards from Rebellion. Her ability was the most situational, and her stats were also extremely poor. The new She has received a whopping 20 increase in health to give her some board presence when her ability is not going to be helpful. In addition, her ability now restores 25 health to your fortress, making it a little less situational than before. The last card we have to look at today is Marina the Selfless, another legendary from Rebellion that was not performing as well as expected. We've reduced Marina's cost by 1, and now she also grants Untouchable to the targeted character, which will substantially improve her ability to protect a valuable character. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Hope you have fun brewing up some new decks with the changed legendaries.